Oh, it's very close.
You can trim that bit off the front before you upload it, if you want to. So thank you for coming. I do have some slides I can go through with you. I've got the information anyway if something doesn't work as a backup plan. So BYOD just means bring your own device, and that means from year 4 onwards, so year 4, year 5, year 6, they can bring their own device with them. Obviously there are guidelines and rules on what they can bring and what it needs to have. So we will look at those. We will look at how we use it in school, how it helps them. We're going to be mythbusters, so there's lots of thoughts that people have about it that I'm going to discuss. Some of the ones that parents have concerns about, and then the technical things. What are the device requirements? How will we help them to stay safe, and how will they stay safe? And what are the responsibilities? That's responsibilities of the parents, responsibilities of the students, and the responsibilities of the teacher, because we're all working together to help each other with this. And then just questions and answers at the end if you have any questions. So please.
Shall I go up?
You're getting your steps in today. Thank you, Miss Martin. Okay, so just means bring your own device. That could be a laptop, it could be an iPad, it cannot be a phone, a mobile phone, and obviously we want it to be something that they can carry easily and that you don't mind them bringing to school. You know, don't send anything that you would be worried about them having. Shall I try this again? See if it... No.
Oh, yeah. What are you having at home?
Sorry?
Aha. Okay.
Perfect example of how technology can be amazing. So the benefits of them being able to bring their own device. I do have some quotes later on that we've asked the students what they think about it, the ones who do bring their own devices already in year 5 and year 6. Today, children generally are very computer literate. They know sometimes more than their parents do, definitely more than their grandparents do, on how to access things, how to use things. And these are all skills that are only growing, only being more required in jobs, in careers, in later life. They can play on it, they learn how to play, they do their homework. Obviously during lockdown, it was a few years ago now, but it was very important that everybody knew how to get online, how to use these devices, and they are used in everyday school life now, because they're used in everyday life now, in lots of different jobs and careers. It allows them to have a bit more freedom when they're creating, developing and sharing their work. If they've got their own device in the classroom, they're a bit more familiar with it. They might have things on there that they know how to find things, they know where things are, they feel more comfortable with their own one. And if they have their own device, there might be times during the day where they can use their device when we don't necessarily have the school computers in our classroom because they are shared. So it does give them a bit more opportunity. They will be better prepared for secondary, for college and university life, because again, these are things that students now are expected to have with them, to know how to use, and to know how to use to assist them in their learning. And the more they use it, the more their computer fluency will be increased. Are we confident this is going to work? Am I pressing the right button?
You haven't switched it on.
That would be the problem. Important technology advice there. Turn it on if you want it to work. There we go. So myth number 1, that parents are concerned that if your student does not bring a device, they will be left behind or they will be missed out. That's not the case. Students do not have to bring their own device. In school, we have a growing amount of laptops in the different areas of the school. We have iPads, even more iPads now. So we do have access to those, and the children will still get opportunities to use them to build their computer literacy skills. So they won't be left behind at all. Myth number 2, bring your own device could result in children using their device for inappropriate activities. Now, one of the things that we do require when a student brings their own device is that the teacher will help them hook up to the school Wi-Fi. So that way it is protected with the school firewall. Now, you might have firewalls at home. I know a lot of businesses, schools in particular, have very strong firewalls. It's very difficult for anything to get through. We have lots of strict barriers in place to keep the students safe, because our school computers and our school iPads also join the same Wi-Fi. We will not let the students use their own device until we have got their digital passport. In Year 4, we are doing digital passport, where we go online with the students, and there are certain things that they have to show us that they know how to stay safe and what they should or shouldn't do in different situations. And once they've got that, obviously, internet safety, staying safe online, runs through all of our computing lessons, lots of our PSHE lessons, very important. So we continually talk about staying safe online, digital safety, cyberbullying, as well as face-to-face issues and things like that. So that will all continue. Myth number 3, what if my child's device does not have the right software? Now, children will be allowed to use lots of different methods for completing work, for being creative. They could use Word documents, they can use PowerPoints, they can use all of those kinds of things. A lot of the time we will use internet resources, the same ones that we would use on the school iPads and the school computers, the ones that link through Canvas. So there's no need for anything extra. You don't need to go out. You certainly don't need to go out and buy brand new laptops and iPads. You don't need to go out and buy any expensive software. Whatever they have on their device, there is a way of using it to help them submit work, complete work, do research, all of those things. And then some concern is, what about my child's offline skills? Will they disappear? No, they won't disappear. It is very important in the classroom that we continue to read actual books, not just online books. It's very important that we still focus on handwriting and sentence structure and being able to do that themselves by hand, pens, pencils, spelling. Computers have spell checks. Another thing that they need to learn is sometimes a computer will pick up a word, but it's because they've used it in a different context. A computer spell check will pick up names, for example. So all of those skills they still need to keep. So there will still be lots of handwriting in the lessons, there will still be lots of reading from books, there will be lots of talking in person, in front of the class, in small groups. All of those oral skills will continue as well, because they are very important. The computers are there just as an added extra to enhance what we already do in the classroom, not to take place, not to replace any of those other skills. Device requirements, things that their device must have. It must have a long battery life. We can't guarantee that we would be able to charge it in school, so it should come to school fully charged, and it should be able to hold the charge so that it won't be plugged in during the day in the classroom. It really should have a keyboard. A lot of iPads, they have the keyboard that comes up on the screen. It would be better if they had an iPad that could, a keyboard that could connect to that iPad, because the typing skills would be developed much better than the ones on the screen, and it just gives them, the screen is bigger, a keyboard rather than the one on the screen would be better. Obviously, if it's a laptop or a computer of some sort, it would have the keyboard with it anyway. It should be small enough for it to fit into their bag as well as anything else that they carry around with them. I know some of them, you know, they have their PE kit, or they might have their snack box, they might have books for Hungarian, or other things like that. Their device should fit safely in their bag, and they should be able to carry it as well as anything else that they are bringing to school with them and bring it back. And it needs to be able to connect to the internet. We need to connect it to the school Wi-Fi, as I said, because the school firewall is so much more secure than security at home and places like that.
One thing it should not have.
I was just going to say, there's one thing it should not have. It should not have the capability to call or message. So that's why no phones. Because they're in school, they're in lesson, it's for learning. They shouldn't be contacting home, calling their friends. If they have any problems, it should still go through the normal channels, talk to the teacher. If it's medical, talk to the nurse, and somebody from the school would contact you if there was an issue. Because if students start doing that, it becomes very difficult for teachers to know if they're okay, where they are, what's happening, and they should be. These are for supporting their learning. And if you, as you know, if at home you have any issues or concerns, you can contact the school office and get in touch that way as well. So their device cannot be a mobile phone, and even the iPads and that, you should not have the capability to message, so no cellular data, things like that. It should just connect to the Wi-Fi. If you have an iPad that does have that, it would need to be switched off. And we can check that.
And another thing that it shouldn't have is a VPN, because a VPN basically doesn't go through the school firewall. Our school
it can bypass it, which makes it less safe.
Yeah, so our firewall blocks websites that are not appropriate, gaming websites. They can't play any video games in school if they're going through the school firewall. And certain harmful content, they can't receive it because of the firewall. It just blocks things. But if they have a VPN, then it can bypass the firewall, so we please ask not to put one on.
Yeah, and that just makes all the security features that we've put in place as a school, it kind of negates them, so they don't need to have that. Responsibilities as a parent. This is what I forgot to print and bring. I can send them out. Parents, there is a bring your own device letter that you can read with all of the information on there. There is in the planner, on page, you have a look at your planners, there is a page that says BYOD, Student Acceptable Use Policy. The students and parents need to read this together, so please read it with your child if you are considering letting them bring their own device, and make sure that they understand all of these things that we're talking about now, that they can't bring their phone and all of those. And then there's a little bit at the bottom that the parents can sign, the student can sign, and once the teacher is confident that they have that digital passport and that they can stay safe online, they will be allowed to bring their device into school. So do have a look at that and read through the facts that will be part of the letter as well. And there is a device registration form. I will send them out to all you.
Why don't I put them on the parent workshop wakelet underneath the recording the presentation and have all the documents there?
That sounds fabulous. It will be available
in one
on the
place
wakelet underneath the recording of this. So there is a registration form. We need to know who they are, what they've bought. There's a way of identifying it. I think on the registration form it says there's a place for a number. I think it's the device number, and it gives you advice on how to find that. If you do have any problems with that, please ask me or the class teacher. If the class teacher isn't sure, they'll ask me anyway. So that is that. The responsibilities of the child is that they are responsible for the safety and security of their own device. We obviously support them with that. We have places in the classroom where we keep them, to keep them safe throughout the day. They should bring it in their bag. They should bring it, they do have permission, if they have an iPad or a computer or a device in their bag, after all of this has been signed, they do have permission to bring it into the classroom first thing in the morning and drop off their bag so that it doesn't get left on the playground. If you've seen the bags on the playground, they put them down, everyone's running around. The last thing you want is an iPad in there and somebody to accidentally trip on it or break it. So they do. So we encourage them, we support them in keeping their device safe by putting these things in place for them. It's their responsibility to then remember to bring it into the classroom, leave it in the safe place, and bring it home at the end of the day. They must also read and sign the acceptable use policy that I just showed you, and read the frequently asked questions. If they have any questions, they can ask their teacher, they can ask you, you'll be experts after you've read the frequently asked questions, or they can ask me. It is their responsibility to bring it to school fully charged, so that if it does run out of charge during the day, they need to understand that that means they will then not be able to use it for the rest of that day and take it home and charge it up for the next day. They must join the network, as we discussed. They must join the school network, which we will help them with, and again, the digital passport, which we are doing with them in class to make sure that they know how to stay safe online and they know how to use their devices safely. Okay, let's just listen. Responsibility of the teacher, to make sure that they know how to stay safe online, to ensure the online safety of pupils when devices are in use. So what teachers do, even with the school computers, the school iPads, obviously they're all on them. It is our job to monitor, to go around, to look, to see what they're doing, to make sure they're doing what they should be doing. And again, our firewall, our Wi-Fi does help with that. It's very difficult for them to get to anything they shouldn't be at. But an added extra is obviously the teacher's eyes in the classroom to make sure that they are doing what they should, and constantly having those conversations with them. What do you do if something pops up that you're not sure about? If it says you can have something for free, click here, what do you do? The answer should always be, don't touch it, tell the adult. Yeah? The teacher at school or the parent at home. It is also our responsibility to give them time in lessons to be able to use that. There's not a lot of point in them bringing it to school if it sits in a box all day. So we will, as we're planning our lessons, looking at our lessons, a lot of the time, if we need computers, we have to book the school ones so we can have a whole class set. But sometimes there are opportunities in other lessons where we don't have access to the school computers because we share them. There are opportunities that digital devices would be helpful, and the teachers will be aware of that and give them those opportunities to use it. And then again, we do have a very strong firewall. It is awesome, but nothing's ever perfect. So we are going to, as I said, keep an eye on things. We always do, even if they're on the school ones, if they're on the home one, it won't make any difference. We'll still keep a very close eye to make sure that they are staying safe online. So we already use the netbooks, the Chromebooks, the laptops. I still call them laptops. I'm not sure the difference between netbooks, Chromebooks. No? Okay, they're laptops. They're the ones that you open. There's a keyboard here, there's a screen there. And iPads, we do have quite a few iPads in school now. We got a new trolley last year with a full class set of iPads. So we have 3 of those now, I think, and 3 computer trolleys. Software, we use the internet. Obviously, we go onto the internet. We talk to the children about how to stay safe on there. The links through Canvas I use quite often because they've been checked for research purposes. So at home, if they want to do some research, I advise you to direct them to the links on their Canvas Kids Corner page. There's links there that will take them to places that they can do lots of research. And we use Microsoft Suite now. We moved away from Google last year, so now we use the Microsoft Suite for a lot of our things. So Word documents, PowerPoints, and there's a spreadsheet one as well. What's that? Excel spreadsheet. So they're the ones that we use. They are quite often already on computers, and if they're not, again, a lot of the times that we use them will be for researching, finding out information. So this is where they keep them in Year 6. These are some of the Year 6 ones that have been in, and this is in the back of the classroom in a secure place. You can't see that there are laptops in there, and the classroom is, usually there's an adult in it, and if there's not, it's secured. So they're the Year 6 ones. In Year 5, this is their spot. They do have boxes as well that go in there. They weren't there when I went to take the picture, so I apologise for that. That's been cut off. Oh, I think it's just by the curtain. Yeah, it is. I see it on the curtain. So this is, as I said, we asked some of the students for the ones who do bring their own device, how they feel about it, why do they think it might be good, do they have any problems with it. The students generally like it, they love to bring their own thing. So this was Michael in year 6. I think these are all year 6s. It's quicker to log on to TT Rockstars, the Times Tables Rockstars, and Canvas and all the other things that we use. Andrea said, I like to be able to bring my own device because it makes me feel more responsible and I can prepare for secondary school. He knows that in secondary school he will be expected to bring his own device. And it's just easier if it's your own device, you know how to use it if you're on it all the time at home. It's easier to find things that I know how to use from Barocca. I particularly like this one. I think Martin has a very good point here. He says, having my own device makes it feel like my activity online is more private and easier to access with things already logged in. We're not having to log out of other children's accounts if they forget to, and all of my information is private. When we're on the school computers, particularly in year 4, 5, 6, we do ask them to log into their emails a lot because the teachers will send them things through email, and then that will take them to somewhere where we're doing our learning in computing lessons and sometimes in topical science lessons. And at the end of every lesson, we do express to them how important it is that they log out, because otherwise the next person who gets that computer can get into their account. We do try to keep a close eye on it. Sometimes some of the children are still logged in, and when the next person gets it, as Martin said here, he has to log somebody else out before he can log in, whereas if he's on his own device, he's already logged in. He doesn't need to log out because he's going to keep it, he's going to close it, he's going to take it home. He knows nobody else is going to get to his things. So I thought that was very astute of him. I'm going to go and thank him for that one. And then Marco said that he likes it because he's already logged in. Again, everything is already connected for his homework as well, because he uses the same one at home to do his homework. He brings it to school, it's still logged in, and it does save time. And then we have some teacher feedback. Miss Spate has said that it's really useful. Miss Spate's a year 6 teacher. It's really useful when the children have bring your own device, as they can use them even when we don't have the school laptops booked out. And that's what I was talking about. We do try to plan ahead and book the school laptops or the school iPads if we are doing a lesson where we need to do some research or where we want them to do something online. But sometimes we'll be in a lesson and a student will ask an amazing question and we're like, oh, that's great. We need to find a way of finding that answer. If there are some students in the class who have their own devices with them, even if not all the students do, they can work together and we can say, oh, you've got a device with you, why don't you grab that and you can help your group to find something out or put something together. Mr. Phillips said it saves learning time rather than having to unlock and transport the netbooks. This is definitely from a teacher point of view. The netbooks, the laptops are kept in charging trolleys to make sure they're always charged. So when a class teacher books them out for a lesson, we then have to go and get them and we take them to the lesson. It's in the lesson, we hand them all out, put them all back in and then roll it back. So that's from a teacher point of view. And then Mr. Bateman, who actually is a year 3 teacher this year, but he was in year 4 last year and he was in year 5 for 2 years before that. He has said that having bring your own device allows children greater independence and immediacy, a bit like Ms. Bates said, they can grab it and use it if an opportunity comes up where they think it would be useful. When solving problems that go beyond the knowledge of their peers. So again, a little bit like what Ms. Bates was saying, if something comes up in the class and having a device to do some research or find something out would be useful, it really helps. So is there a great way to supplement learning without needing teachers to book devices in advance, allowing for children to take their learning further? So it does give them a little bit more independence, it gives them more options on ways that they can research, ways they can find out, and ways that they can present their work as well. Like I said, we do keep the other skills. We still write, we still draw, we still do research in books, but this just gives an added choice, an added option for their work. And this is where they will be in year 4. Again, they do have the boxes. I don't have anybody bringing any devices yet, so they're not there yet. But just like in the year 6 one that you saw, they would be inside the box, they would be in there. This is actually in the back room of the classroom, so it's not even in the main classroom. So you won't be able to see that there are devices in there because they're just in one of the boxes, just like all the other ones. And is very secure because it's in the back of the classroom where somebody is usually there all day. After school, when nobody's there, the children will have taken their devices home anyway. And then this is to remind me to tell you, I already said, when they get to school, they bring their device in, they drop it off, then they go back out to the playground, and they remember to bring it home at the end of the day. As teachers, we try and remind them, they need to try and remember as well. Any questions? I know I talked a lot there. If you've got any questions or if you want to ask anything, you can ask me now. If you go away and think of something, you can email or you can get in touch with the class teacher. Miss Morton is going to put the parent letter and the registration form on the wait clip with the video. Any questions? Concerns? Worries?
My son is in year 4 and he's 8 years old, and I think this year I won't be able to trust him with anything like that. I can't trust him with that so far.
Yes, he did. He lost his hat the other day. He is generally quite responsible. Yeah, he is. Yeah. But again, obviously, this is entirely your choice. And as I said, them not bringing a device will not mean that they miss out on any part of learning. It's not going to hold them back. It's not going to have them left out. It's just some students prefer to have their own with all of their own things on it because it's already there. And I would say I understand your concerns about year 4, maybe in year 5 or year 6. Certainly in year 6 it would be a good idea to start giving them that responsibility because when they get to secondary school they will have that responsibility.
We've had parents before say, you know, with multiple children who say, I trust that child with that one.
Yeah.
And like, that's okay.
Everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no more questions. Like I say, if you do think of anything later, please email or get in touch with the class teacher or myself or Mrs. Tormey.
If I'm transitioning to this role, so that's why I'm here.
Training. Yeah, so Mrs. Tormey is going to be helping with a lot of the IT things as well. So if you have any questions regarding devices, IT, class teacher is always the first place to go. If it's something more specific that they can't help with,